Through the balance of yesterday and overnight, Abbotsford continued to receive additional rainfall, with the city receiving approximately 60 millimeters of rain over the last 2 days of November. As we move into a new month today, I learned that in total, our community received approximately 1/3 of its typical annual rainfall in the month of November, with accumulations of more than 540 millimeters overall, which is an all-time record for Abbotsford. For those of you who are from my generation, that's just under 2 feet of water layered over our entire city. As I mentioned yesterday, we did experience localized flooding from the most recent rain event and continue to have several road closures in place and several localized evacuation orders being issued over the last 24 hours. If the weather continues to cooperate over the next few days, we hope to be able to start lifting these and potentially other evacuation orders in areas as they become clear. And I would like to stress that even though it may not be actively raining, there is a lot of rainwater and snowmelt that is still making its way down from the mountains of Baker, Vetter, and Sumas. And we continue to see water levels rise unexpectedly in some areas across our community. Regional water modeling projections for today and for the next few days continue to indicate a stabilization of overall water levels. With this last rain event, we only saw water levels in Sumas Prairie Lake bottom drop by 1 inch over the past 24 hours. Whatcom County has confirmed that the Nooksack River has crested and is not expected to overflow its banks, although the situation still remains variable and we are continuing to monitor this situation very closely. We are also continuing with overnight patrols along the Sumas Dike and in Huntington to monitor any change in conditions there. Although we still have floodwaters running south to north across Boundary and Vi roads and then flowing northeast across the Sumas Prairie to the Sumas Dike, we expect to see water levels continue to subside over the next couple of days. Mayor Christensen from the city of Sumas confirmed with me this morning that the water levels there are slowly decreasing, and that their city work crews are focused on clearing any blocked culverts and general cleanup efforts. Like us, they are also looking forward to a few days without any significant rain falling. Due to the impact of rising tides on the Fraser River this morning, we had to close the Barrowtown floodgates. This means that the level of the Sumas River will begin to rise, but don't panic. That's how they're designed. However, we do not anticipate that this will cause any issues. We expect to be able to reopen the floodgates later today when the tide drops. The area of Highway 1 along North Parallel Road near the Whatcom exit remained flooded this morning, and we are encouraging people to continue to avoid this area and also to drive with extreme caution if they are driving through any areas where there is standing water. Although I am not able to provide an update on Highway 1 and when it will reopen, as that is a jurisdiction of the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, I can share that city staff are in discussions with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure and Emergency Management BC about timing. This is all subject to flood conditions, rainfall events, river levels, and snowmelt. Finally, the Canadian Armed Forces are continuing to provide flood response support for our community over the next days wherever it is needed. Turning to our recovery efforts, our rapid damage assessments have resumed again today, and we are also beginning the process of establishing which, if any, structures may need to be reassessed after the reflooding of the western portion of Sumas Prairie that we experienced over the past several days. We are also continuing to focus energy toward our return to home plans for all of our displaced residents while keeping our eyes firmly on weather projections. I look forward to a time when we no longer have the term atmospheric river included with our weather projections. Our community as a whole continues to impress me with their ability to come together to support each other in a time of crises. It is a true testament to the strength of everyone who lives, works, and supports our region. I do want to once again mention that the longer-term recovery of our community will absolutely need to be in partnership with the provincial and federal governments, and will be focused on rebuilding our critical infrastructure to ensure that we do not experience another event of this magnitude or worse. We simply cannot lose focus on the infrastructure upgrades that are required to keep our community and region safe going forward. As always, we will continue to keep you informed of changes and updates in the water levels through our daily updates, as well as on the City of Abbotsford website and social media channels. That is my update for you today, and I will now take any questions.
Mayor Braun, I know you already mentioned the area around Highway 1 and Whatcom Road, North Parallel Road. It looked as though throughout the day, they ended up having to do another closure of the overpass there, that the water maybe was rising in that area. Are you aware of sort of the current situation that's going on in that part of the city, or?
Well, yes, I was there yesterday, and the water was rising, and I haven't heard that it receded. But when it comes to the off-ramps and Highway 1, that is the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, so I don't have any further data than what I just gave you.
Is there anything more, any updates on the environmental assessments? I know you've mentioned the rapid damage assessments that are going on. What about looking at the water contamination and that kind of thing, and that work? I know it's been continuing, but is there any update on how that's been going?
I don't have any update. That is under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Environment, and I'm sure that they're out there somewhere. I just don't know where.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Talking about the return home plan, can you give us more information on that timeline, and what kind of damage do you think people will be returning to?
Well, there's significant damage to their buildings, whether it's residential homes or barns and other and equipment as well, and never mind livestock and blueberry plants and other coal crops. But we cannot proceed with that plan until three things happen. Highway 1 has to be reopened. We need clear access on Vi Road going east-west and Whatcom going north-south. And that we have to wait for the water to recede. So I don't have a projection when that will be. I'm hoping it's days. However, and I think I've been clear with this, but I'll make it abundantly clear, that where the lake bottom, the water in the lake bottom, which is probably about 3 kilometers, 3.5 kilometers in diameter, that water is going to be there for a number of weeks. And we don't really know what's under there yet until that water recedes. Anyone else?
Wade Dickoff, Global News. Based on the condition of Highway 7 with the mudslides this morning and single lane traffic alternating, how important is it for the residents of Abbotsford and Chilliwack to get Highway 1 reopened?
Well, it's not just the residents of Abbotsford and Chilliwack. It is imperative for the entire province and for all of the goods and services moving in and out of our port. This is the largest port in Canada. So that's a problem, and I think everybody can see what happens when Abbotsford, which is kind of the hub of the Fraser Valley, in a narrow or squeeze between Vetter Mountain and Sumas Mountain, the Nooksack to the south and the Fraser to the north. It is critically important that we protect our infrastructure because the damage to our economy overall, not just in this province, but across our country, is enormous. I have no idea how much. People, I'm sure, that are way smarter than I am are figuring this out. But we need those transportation corridors opened up. I don't see any other hands, so thank you for being here, and tomorrow's update will be at 2 p.m. Thank you.